1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
Thank you for tuning in. 7 minutes after 9 o'clock, and nice looking Monday out there. Hope you're doing well. Robin, let's go back in time to a time when the Beatles were popular, and all of a sudden they were going over to see some guru in India, and
yes.
And we started learning about Hare Krishna. We started learning about Eastern philosophies, and I'm sure that that's not really true for the entire world, but I think our generation was greatly affected by that, and I'm not so sure why. But the thing is this: it was fascinating, and it was intriguing, and it was interesting, and it introduced us to some things that maybe we hadn't been introduced to before, specifically the musical styles of the East, the musical instruments of the East.
Yeah.
But all throughout the history of the West, of the America especially, we've been introduced a little bit because of the fact that we attract people from all over the world to immigrate here. We've been introduced to some of the things from the East that might be considered alternative forms of healing, alternative forms of medication, and whether it's music or even the music is different. I was listening to an interview with some of those musicians who have played with Ravi Shankar,
yes,
who has since passed away, and I mean, even this, it's not like a time signature, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, right? They have something different that they do.
Right.
And I don't even know that I would even be able to understand it. John Adago is on the phone. He is a student of philosophy. He's an historian. He's the founder of a real estate development company as well, and a construction company. He's obviously very busy, and he took some time to write a book about this. It's called East Meets West. And I have the book here. Let's say hello to John. He's on the phone waiting patiently as we made our way through all those commercials. Good morning, John. How you doing?
Good morning.
Where are you?
I'm in New York City.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the air with us today.
You're welcome.
All right. So explain how you became interested in this.
Well, as I wrote in East Meets West, I began right out of college to look at Eastern philosophy, and I encountered one teacher, a man by the name of Mr. Nyland, who was a student of a philosopher named Gurdjieff and Ouspensky, and I had the good fortune to be under his influence for a few years until he passed on in 1975. After that, I was attracted to several other groups, and to my surprise, I found that these independent organizations had a common body of knowledge, and that set me out on a quest to track down the founders of these organizations and the teachers from the East from which they had drawn their inspiration.
Now, was it primarily in the realm of philosophy or maybe even religion, or did it cross at that time into medicine and health?
I have always had an interest in alternative medicine, though what East Meets West deals with is the teachers, and I talk about 13 prominent teachers who were instrumental in building this bridge between India and the West. And between them, they brought over the meditation and the Vedanta philosophy and yoga and things that previous to 1960 were virtually unknown here and are now household words.
Was it purposeful? Was it intentional to do this, or was it accidental? Did the thing I referenced about the Beatles, did that catapult it at all?
Oh yes, that very much so. I'd like to read something from East Meets West by a man by the name of Ouspensky. He said, "I went to India in search of a school or schools. I realized that personal or individual efforts were insufficient, and it was necessary to come in touch with the real and living thought which must be in existence somewhere, but which we had lost touch. I was going to, quote, seek the miraculous. I had come to the conclusion that there was no escape from the contradictions in which we live our life except by an entirely new road. The miraculous was a penetration beneath the thin film of our superficial life to an unknown reality. And it seemed to me that way could be found in the East. So to answer your question, yes, there were men and women in the West that actively sought this out, and there were teachers in the East that felt the time was propitious, and actually it was essential that the spiritual sciences, the sacred knowledge of India and the East, began to influence the West.
And was it reciprocal? Did we influence them as well?
Well, certainly our influence was in technology and commerce. And what we've seen during the last 50 years is that has begun to ease the burden of poverty in that part of the world. We brought technology. They brought a different knowledge. They brought a knowledge about oneself, about one's inner life.
Let me ask you about something that I remember from the reports of the tsunami that hit Japan, and forgive me for forgetting what year that was, but in recent years, there was a story that I wanted to bring to this conversation, and it was a story about the absence of looting in a place where everything is being devastated, and anybody who wanted to could have easily gone into a store and stolen a TV or whatever. There was none. There was no reported looting in Japan after that tsunami. Unlike here, when Katrina hit New Orleans, for example, there was lots of looting, and I'm not just picking on New Orleans, but we kind of hear those stories all the time. And I'm not saying that all of us would be engaged in looting, but it is interesting how it was totally absent in Japan, which would be an example of that Eastern philosophy, correct?
Yes. There was a historian named Toynbee who said that it was essential that this influence of the East and the energy of the West combined, that the world, through technology and the advance in nuclear weaponry, had reached a very dangerous point in the history of mankind. And it was necessary for the course to alter. And there were people in the East and in the West that felt that it was this influence from the East that would bring a more unifying philosophy, one that might alter this destructive course that mankind seemed to have set out upon.
And in just a layperson's perspective, it looks like it. I mean, it looks like it was a more peaceful thing. There's a funny thing about how we categorize people. If you listen to somebody with a British accent, you say, well, he must be smart. Mm-hmm. If you listen to somebody with an Indian accent, you say, well, he must be wise, right?
Right. Right. And just all of those realizations between the people, the peacefulness and things, you bring up some great points in your book about depression and addictions, even unhappiness. You lay out in there that through this knowledge and just by a person giving themselves a few moments at time, maybe their life won't be so bad and they can overcome these.
Yes, in East meets West, the teachers that I speak about had a very profound understanding of the aim and purpose of the human life. And it was their belief that many of the problems, social problems and emotional problems that people experience is because they've gone very far away from their own essential natures. And the path they taught, the teaching that they professed, was one that led us to a deeper, more profound understanding of my true self, of what I really am.
When we speak to, Rob and I speak to a lot of people on this show, and when we speak to rabbis, they seem to have that. Is Israel considered part of the East?
Well, Israel was the birthplace of Christ.
Yeah.
And it was also the center for the Islam religion. It seems, and of Judaism, of course. So it seems that in that area of the world, some very special influences have fostered knowledge and wisdom.
In writing the book, were you attempting to give the message that's in the book to those who've already embraced it, or to try to persuade people who haven't really considered it before?
Well, initially I set out, I held these teachers in the highest regard, and I sought to preserve their stories, because for people who study Eastern philosophy, people who meditate, people who are engaged in the work of reaching one's highest potential, they're actually standing on the shoulders of the work that these men and women did. This is their heritage, and that was the primary purpose that I set out in writing this book. I thought I was going to be writing to a relatively small circle of people, of the followers of these teachers, that seems to be generating a much broader interest. Men and women all over are looking for something deeper, something more profound, a larger sense of self, the realization that myself and yourself and the self of all are one and universal. And people are seeking paths, and we saw it in the 60s, and it seems to be arising again now.
And what really gives a credibility and credence to your book is that you actually have experienced what it is that you are writing about. You immersed yourself in the culture. You didn't just solicit stories.
No, this has been really the center and aim of my life since the time I got out of college. It's been over 40 years. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate enough to be influenced by some of these master teachers, fortunate enough to know many of them, to be introduced to meditation and when I was in like 25 years old, and to be involved in the work of Gurdjieff and Ouspensky virtually all my adult life.
Are there, in the book you have quite a few people. We learn a little bit about quite a few people that have actually been part of this. I guess you call it a movement. I don't know what you call it. It's more like a hybridization of philosophies. And again, I think there are some people who will embrace it, just as in everything, and other people who won't. So which of the Western influences, which people you would associate with the West, actually helped catapult the merging of the East and West?
Well, in East Meets West, I talk about a number of teachers. And, of course, the Maharishi brought the meditation. He met in London a group was called the Study Society, under Dr. Rolls, another group under Leon McLaren, it's the School of Philosophy, and both of those organizations have branches in 20 countries all over the world. Mr. Nyland, I was personally influenced by, and he had spent 25 years with Gurdjieff. There are teachers. Muktananda also was a profound influence introducing meditation and the study of Vedanta in this country and in Europe.
Since you are the founder of businesses, do you advocate spirituality in the workplace itself, a time for prayer for your employees, or do you leave it on their own to do that inside their own selves?
Well, this is very much up to the individual. And it's one of the things I've discovered along this way is each man and woman must find their own path back to the center of things. It's as if we were all standing on the circumference of a circle. The center is the same for all of us, but our angle of approach is unique because we are unique. So men and women need to find their own way back to themselves. Even within the same religion or the study of the same philosophy, the approaches are very varied. So this is not so much communal worship as something that someone picks up and makes the aim and purpose of their own life. He seeks out good company. He seeks out the company of others of like mind and with a similar aim. He seeks out teachers that are further along than him. But it's up to him to do the work. It's up to the individual to find his own self.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let me just reintroduce you. John Adago is our guest. He is who you are listening to. He wrote the book called East Meets West, the stories of the remarkable men and women in the East and the West who built a bridge across a cultural divide and introduced meditation and Eastern philosophy to the West. One of the things, this is my observation, and I know I'm not alone in this, but one of the things that I seem to be noticing, and I guess everybody does, is that religion often corrupts the message of the focal point in the religion. In other words, Christianity, and I'm not, the teachings of Christ, they're also often, I should say, corrupted. They're not taught exactly, and a lot of times religion, or the pomp and circumstance of religion, the ceremonies and the things that are around it often corrupt, I think, the essential message. Is that true in the Eastern religions too? If Krishna, for example, becomes pop culture, as it did for a little while, at least in the 60s, does it corrupt the message?
Well, the message can only be passed on to the level of understanding of the listener. And so as soon as a conscious or realized man puts out his message to mankind, generation after generation, it tends to be diluted. And so there tends to be some misunderstandings arise. If these master teachers, Krishna and Socrates and Jesus and Moses, were put in a room together, I don't believe you would find them engaged in an argument. They taught the same truth. As it gets passed on from generation to generation, the form changes and the ritual changes. But also, we must not underestimate the power of these religions. And Christianity has upheld and sustained Western civilization for 2,000 years. Heavens knows where we'd be without it. Certainly there have been errors made in the name of Jesus, in the name of Moses, in the name of Krishna, but that doesn't negate the power of these men or the message that they brought to mankind.
Well said. Yeah, no, wow, that was wonderful. I really, truly think you're right. That's just my belief. I believe you've hit it on the head.
Sometimes people associate with the Hare Krishna movement and the Eastern philosophies coming into the 1960s, the use of drugs, marijuana being at the top of the list. Do you think that because people have such an opinion about that their opinion about making marijuana legal for medical use is jaded?
All of these teachers were very clear that you might get a glimpse of something through the use of a chemical, but it's not lasting. And the result, you haven't done the work or had the preparation needed to make the experience useful. This is a path that a person takes to find the aim and purpose of his life. It's not so simple as taking a pill. And in fact, I'm thinking of Ram Dass, who took drugs and then turns to Indian philosophy. He said, once you get the message, hang up.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Oh, that is so clever.
It is clever. and he was a wise man, and that's exactly what he did. He got a glimpse of something, and then he went to work. And he found his way. And he was and a big part of his way was being of tremendous help to others. But this is not work for oneself. Spiritual work is for all. It's like a man in a church tower ringing a bell. He doesn't make that beautiful sound for himself. He puts out a very powerful and beautiful sound that has an effect that reaches out to people that he may not even know or meet.
Yeah, that's true. You know, in thinking about what you said earlier about if Christ and Buddha and all the great philosophers were in the same room, they wouldn't really be disagreeing or arguing. I'm wondering if we could throw into the mix the beliefs of the Native Americans, the people who we ended up calling Indians, our Indians, the Indians in America. It seems like their religions, their cultural beliefs were not that far off from those of the East.
They were very close to nature, and as a result, their lives were nowhere near as superficial as ours today. They were very in touch every day with the elements in their environment, and there seemed to be among many of them a strong spiritual sense.
So maybe here on this in this place we call North America, maybe the philosophy of the East was here once upon a time, and then it got knocked out by the beliefs of the Europeans.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just being reintroduced in a way.
That's quite possible. I mean, you have to remember the American Indians were engaged in tribal warfare almost nonstop for century upon century upon century. And that tends to destroy traditions and destroy knowledge. We saw a tremendous step back after World War I and World War II. War is very destructive. Chief, one of the teachers discussing East Meets West, said one of the greatest tragedies of war and civil strife is the loss of knowledge and tradition.
And that's one of the things that you stress in the book also. You're a huge advocate of respecting others, not just the way the others are now, but also their heritage.
It's one truth that's being spoken about, one universal truth, one God, one self, one consciousness that created everything and sustains everything. And my attempt was to write from this principle of non-dualism, from unity, what the Vedantists call Advaita. There is not two. You and I are one.
You know, again, going back to the effect that pop culture had on us. Rob and I are 59 years old, so we're closing on 60, just to give you an idea of how old we are. And so I remember going to concerts back in those days. It didn't have to be a George Harrison concert. It could be anybody who sort of attracted the Hare Krishna people. Mm-hmm. And they would be outside of the stadiums, outside of the theaters, and they'd be handing out these books with these beautiful illustrations of blue people and writing about some of the things that you are talking about in your book, as a matter of fact. So I guess they were trying to get us to learn. And I remember saying, no, I got my own religion. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. And for most of these teachers that I discuss in East Meets West, they did not set out to make Hindi out of Christians or Christians out of Hindi. As one of the teachers said, the religion you're born into is a gift from God. And there's great value in these traditions, and you would be quite wise to practice your religion. So the study of philosophy does not mean it should cut you off from your heritage, from your culture, from your religious training. In fact, in my own life, I found that it had illuminated it and brought a more profound sense of meaning and purpose to all of that.
And since the Second World War is brought up, all of the devastation that was caused with it, the soldiers there returning home were revered by the American people. And when Vietnam came, the soldiers that were returning home were not revered and treated really, really badly. But now, this is people are coming to the realization that we need to treat all of the soldiers with respect and help them through everything.
Absolutely. They were warriors, and they fought for what they believed to be the truth. And, the politics is complicated, and you can agree on or disagree on different policies. But men and women who put their lives on the line to serve their country and their people should be admired.
I feel like we've been speaking to a guru this morning.
Yeah.
John, you are a well-spoken author, and thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to share this with us. The book says way more than we were able to cover in the interview, and the book is called East Meets West. It is written by our guest.
And that's available on Amazon, and I can be reached through my website, thejourneyback.net.
That's where I was going. Thejourneyback.net is the website. John Adago spells his last name Adago. And I have a copy of the book. Let me give this away. If you want the copy I have, call me and I'll leave it for you. And the rest of us have to go buy it, and I'll just recap that in a second. Good morning. The book is yours. Who's this?
Thank you. This is Cheryl.
Cheryl, you know where we are, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Cheryl, thank you. It's going to go quick, John. I think you've hit a nerve with this one. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to your audience.
Okay, excellent. We'll take a little break, and we will be right back.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
This is Wendy and Will of Dex Imaging. By now, you might be tired of hearing us talk about Dex. So instead of us telling you how much Dex can save you on your copier costs and how we can help your office be more efficient, we thought we'd let Judy tell you.
Hi, I'm Judy, the office manager of Graper Facial Institute here in Gainesville. We operate 8 medical offices, so I was looking for a document management system that would copy, scan, print, and share documents among all of our locations, but something that was within our budget. Dex Imaging recommended a Kyocera with their Index solution. It's been amazing. This machine does everything we need it to, including a direct scan into our current electronic medical record software. Dex even trained us on how to use it. Dex has been a tremendous help in making our practice and my job more efficient.
Thanks, Judy. And remember, call Dex Imaging today for a free workflow analysis to find out how you can save 20 to 30% on your copying and document management needs, just like Graper Facial Institute. Dex Imaging, 352-224-1816. That's 224-1816.
Hi, Carl Champley here. Join me every Saturday afternoon for DIY Live, your complete guide to getting that DIY project started and finished the right way.
And when you need the right product for that do-it-yourself project, visit the DIY Home Center outlet right here in Ocala, just 2 miles east of I-75 on Northwest 10th Street. From carpet to doors to real wood cabinets, visit the DIY Home Center outlet today and tune in to DIY Live.
That's DIY Live Saturdays right here on WOCA, The Source.
Beautiful Moments Party Rentals presents Showcase Under the Stars, a bridal affair to remember. This event has it all: caterers, photographers, florists, DJs, venues, and more, all gathered in one place and all there to help you plan your special day. Brides, bring your bridesmaids and friends alike. This is the event you don't want to miss. There will be food, fun, trivia games, and prizes with different wedding-themed areas to explore. Tickets are only $10, and Beautiful Moments Party Rentals is donating 100% of the proceeds to the United Way of Marion County. Advanced tickets can be purchased at Beautiful Moments Party Rentals, 3400 Southwest 60th Avenue in Ocala. Showcase Under the Stars takes place on March 13th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., so make plans to be there. Again, that's March 13th at Beautiful Moments Party Rentals from 5 to 9 p.m. If you have any questions, just give them a call, 307-8180, that's 307-8180, and make your plans to attend the Showcase Under the Stars.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Frederick's Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance.
Save the date. On March 1st, Habitat for Humanity of Marion County will be hosting the first annual Strawberry and Crafts Festival, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in historic downtown Ocala. Come and enjoy the handmade crafts, great food, free entertainment, and of course, all things strawberry. There's even a kids zone, so make plans to attend the first annual Strawberry and Crafts Show, March 1st, downtown Ocala. It's great fun and a great cause. Habitat for Humanity. Building homes, building hope, building community.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free on-site security analysis. Call 867-1965. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, 219 Northwest 10th Street, 867-1965.
Beautiful Moments Party Rentals presents Showcase Under the Stars, a bridal affair to remember. This event has it all: caterers, photographers, florists, DJs, venues, and more, all gathered in one place and all there to help you plan your special day. Brides, bring your bridesmaids and friends alike. This is the event you don't want to miss. There will be food, fun, trivia games, and prizes with different wedding-themed areas to explore. Tickets are only $10, and Beautiful Moments Party Rentals is donating 100% of the proceeds to the United Way of Marion County. Advance tickets can be purchased at Beautiful Moments Party Rentals, 3400 Southwest 60th Avenue in Ocala. Showcase Under the Stars takes place on March 13th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So make plans to be there. Again, that's March 13th at Beautiful Moments Party Rentals from 5 to 9 p.m. If you have any questions, just give them a call, 307-8180. That's 307-8180. And make your plans to attend the Showcase Under the Stars.
Howdy, RL here to tell you about a great deal at Dairy Queen. For only $4.49, you can warm up to a hot, juicy combo of either a foot-long, quarter-pound all-beef chili dog or a tasty, home-style cheeseburger, smoking hot off the char grill. Both get fries and a drink. You can add a sundae for only 99 cents. Now that's a doggone good deal at Dairy Queen, Silver Springs, where they always treat you like king.